Hello, friends. Welcome back to my channel. I am Stopher Cavins, psychic medium, and I'm here to finally give you my 2024 US presidential election predictions. That's a mouthful. All right. So I've been holding off on these because I didn't have the energy yet. And what I mean by I didn't have the energy yet is the information wasn't there. I wasn't confident in what I was reading. So now it's the 9th of October. We're like 4 weeks, maybe less than 4 weeks away from the November 5th presidential or the elections in general. So I've got some information. I'm going to be giving you those predictions here very, very, very soon. First, let's take a little bit of a recap back to my predictions earlier this year, all the way to the beginning of the year in January. That video is available here on YouTube if you want to find it. I'm not going to go through every prediction that I made, but one of the predictions that I made that was fairly accurate was that we would have at least one. I predicted that Donald Trump and Joe Biden would be the presumptive nominees and secure the nominations. I guess Joe Biden didn't technically secure the nomination because he dropped out beforehand. But the prediction I made was that one or possibly both of them would be off of the ticket by the time the November 5th election rolled around. So unless you've been living under a rock for the past few months, you would know that Joe Biden dropped out and we have someone else replacing him, Kamala Harris. So one prediction that was off a little bit and just a little bit of I guess my understanding of it, I did predict that there would be some major health stuff come up around Donald Trump that could possibly also end his bid for the presidency. That never really came out, just beyond the normal, old people stuff or people guessing that his cognition is slipping and that kind of thing. I don't feel it as much as I used to be honest. So I'm not going to make the prediction that between now and November 5th that he has some kind of medical situation. I actually feel that whatever he had going on was taken care of or somehow managed, because I'm not getting the same kind of energy that I had before. Okay. So, we have a race now between, different people than we had back in January. So I also made the prediction back then that regardless of who dropped out, we would have a new president. So that was my way of saying it's not going to be Joe Biden. Whether he's on the ticket or not, it's not going to be Joe Biden. That is going to be true because we will either have Kamala or Donald. All right. So also, I'm going to get into the predictions. I do want to make it clear how I make my projections and predictions, how they come to me. First, I'll tell you what I'm not doing. So I'm not communicating with a specific spiritual entity such as a guide or a master or any of that kind of thing. I'll leave that to folks that do that. That's not what I do. I'm not connecting or getting information from an extraterrestrial. Once again, I'll leave that to the folks that communicate in that way. That's not what I do. What I do is I read energy, whether it's personal, like a personal reading where I'm reading a specific person and what's going on with them, or a collective energy, which is a much different, different kind of beast, which is what I'll be doing to give you my projections of what's going on with the election. Basically, and also I want to make it clear, I don't claim to see the future. That's not what I do. Also, I don't believe the future is written, right? So what I'm doing when I make these predictions is I'm feeling the way that the energy is flowing, what energy is there, what's not there, and then I'm doing a reading. I'm giving my opinion, and I'm feeling and kind of understanding, having a conversation with that energy, basically, to see where it's pointed in that moment. Of course, there's free will. And with collective predictions and projections, there's a lot of free will involved, right? There's the whole country, the world. There are all kinds of things that go into the mix. But I'm pretty confident of how things are pointed now. So let's get into it. Let's talk about the rest of this month, October. We always have that October surprise, right? I don't think we're going to have any kind of major groundbreaking thing come up. I think the assassination attempts are over. I am feeling, of course, there's disgruntled people out there, but as far as something going from the planning stage into, we've had 2 attempts so far with Mr. Trump. So my prediction is that, we're done with that. Who knew? Who would have known we would have 2? So no big shocking October surprise. Little things. A lot of it, what I'm sensing that will come out in the media is it's like money trail kind of stuff. I don't think it's anything groundbreaking. We know what we know so far, right? So let's get into the election night itself. I'm telling you, if you have the chance, regardless of what state you're in, especially if you're in one of these 7, 8 handful of battleground states, I would say vote early, vote by mail. Do not leave it up to chance, because I'm getting a lot of energy around day of polling places, especially I feel like I want to go to Pennsylvania, Michigan, Georgia, even North Carolina, where probably Arizona, but I'm not necessarily feeling that specifically, where polling places, there's already things in place. There's already conversations being had. There's already plans to delay counting, delay voting, delay. I'm seeing big, we'll call it big blocker energy, right? So regardless of who you're voting for, I say vote early, stay away from the polling places if possible on the day of. It will be kind of wild. It will be intense at a few, within a few states specifically, maybe a lot more than I'm thinking, but I'm being given energy around a handful of those battleground states. So be careful out there. Of course, don't let it stop you. Vote however you can, regardless of who you're voting for. All right, so that's going to be kind of the start of chaos, because I'm getting a lot of chaotic energy around this election. I don't think we're going to know who the president is. We're not going to have a full fledged winner probably through most of December. It is going to be, there's so much ebb and flow energy here, hostile confusion. That's where it's pointed right now. So I want to make that clear. My prediction is the popular vote, I'm very confident, will go to Kamala Harris. There's just a swell there that kind of tips the scale in her direction. And I believe if we tabulate vote for vote, the electoral victory would also go to her. But I'm going to deliver some bad news for folks that are supporters of Kamala Harris. There are already things in place from the Republican side that are going to prevent a lot of these, we'll call it proper electoral counts and processes. So the confusion, the blocker energy, the skewing is going to, of course, there's going to be lawsuits. I don't think you have to be call yourself a psychic to know that, but I am getting that energy. There will be lawsuits from both sides. For those of you that were around or voting age in 2000 and remember Florida, we're going to have like 4 Floridas. All right, it's going to, especially I want to go to Wisconsin, Michigan, North Carolina, which I think is ultimately going to tilt for Kamala, and then also Pennsylvania. All right, so those 4 states specifically are big problems. Now, back in January, I had said Michigan and Ohio seem like there's something going on there. Now I'm kind of going to redirect and say that energy I was feeling was probably more so Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, because those states are sandwiched in between those. So right in that area, we've got some big stuff coming up. So we will have lawsuits. I do believe that some things are going all the way to the Supreme Court. And once again, I guess fortunately for Donald Trump supporters and unfortunately for Kamala Harris supporters, I believe the Supreme Court will make decisions, not necessarily that, decide the election, but provide pathways that allow Donald Trump to go back into office as the 47th president, Donald Trump. It's a little bit down the road. I have a hard time. I guess this is less of a prediction and more of a projection. I have a hard time seeing him staying in office for the 4 years. So, unfortunately, for folks that don't like JD Vance, I think we're going to have a JD Vance president for at least a little bit. You know, some might like that, some might not. So that's kind of what I get with that when we talk about leading up to the election night, and then beyond the election. December is going to be wild. It's going to be frustrating. It's going to be hard. Okay, so buckle up, stay grounded is what I want to tell you, regardless of what side you're on. Stay grounded, and listen. This is my opinion of where things are headed, and I'm open to be. It's not about me being right or wrong. This is where I feel it's headed now. Could things change? Of course, of course. So if you don't like the prediction of Donald Trump being the next president, then you know tell everybody to vote and what you think about that. Real quick before we end this video, I do want to also kind of go into what comes next, because I do have a little bit of energy kind of after this. And I feel like it kind of goes this way regardless if Donald Trump or Kamala Harris win, but especially if I'm on target here with the Donald Trump prediction. After the election, and probably kind of something that happens like a 2-year period after the election, I think we get into one of these situations, it feels to me, where political parties kind of splinter and kind of create other political parties. I would not be surprised within a 2-year period we have two other viable parties rising in addition to Republican and Democrat. And I'm not just talking about like Green Party and things that are already kind of in place. Two new parties that rise up and give people some other options, give people some other types of hope and that type of thing. It might even kind of change our political system in general as well. So a lot to, I guess, I don't want to say look forward to, but a lot coming up, a lot of crazy stuff. Stay tuned for more videos I will be doing on the lead up to the election. As energy comes in, I will be providing updates, looking into some other races, looking into some other topics as well. So if you're not subscribed to my channel, please do. I hear it's free. I hear it doesn't hurt just to click the button there. I appreciate each and every one of you. Hit the like button on the way out. And until next time, peace always.